feel lonely. Maybe you're starting to feel a little depressed. Stay tuned because this video is going to give you some coping skills on how to move forward in your new freedom.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about how to find joy when you're facing that empty nesting syndrome. There are different stages of empty nesting. You know, there's the stage where it's approaching, you know, your kids are getting to that age. Maybe they're starting the college visits if they're going to college, or they're in high school. I know Alana's daughter, Abby, is 16 now, and she's already starting to talk about college. So it's right then that I think parents, from a parent standpoint, that's a stage that you're going to go through. So, you know, the important thing that I've learned as I went through that is to prepare for that and to actually look forward to it, to choose to get your mindset in a space where, you know, you can say, wow, this is really exciting for her. I know I had an only child, my son, Tyler. So I had to look at it that way in that stage of empty nesting. And then a second stage that you have is actually when it happens, you know, and it's usually, you know, depending on the circumstances again, when it actually happens, if it's a joyous occasion, like you're taking them away to school, or they've got a new job or something like that, they're getting married, you know, that's one stage you can go through with that empty nesting syndrome. But if it's something more circumstantial or sad, a divorce, again, I experienced that part of it too, the divorce. And so when you actually face that actual separation, for me, you know, the key is faith. Knowing what I know now is just having faith that God has your kids and has you. I think the other thing I would say on this whole topic is make sure you keep your children the number one priority. It's not about you and what I'm losing. And the other piece going into this, if you're a parent or expect to be a parent, you cannot have your identity wrapped up in being a parent. Because if you do, if your identity is wrapped up in being a parent, when that child leaves, guess what? Your identity leaves. And that's not a good place to be. That's what can lead to that empty nesting depression that some people feel, is because they put so much into their own personal identity, being that parent. And then the third stage I want to talk about is, you know, now you look up, you're like, wow, it's just me now. Well, I would say embrace that part. Again, it's similar to the first point I made. You know, plan ahead for that. Plan ahead for that time when that child is going to be gone. You know, take a look at your bank account because you're going to be able to save more money because you're not have to pay for all the food and stuff. I mean, look at the positive aspects of the empty nesting, not the negative aspects. Think about, you know, what you'll be able to do, how you'll be able to reinvest that time, maybe in a passion that you had that you want to, you know, expand on. So I think a lot of this is proactive. You know, you're going to go through those stages. So start thinking about it right now, no matter where you're at on this continuum, and prepare yourself mentally to have a positive experience so you don't fall victim to this empty nest syndrome, and you can actually find joy in empty nesting. Alana, what about resources and community?
Well, I love what you were talking about with preparing in advance for empty nest, because that is kind of what I'm in the process. That's the stage that I'm in. Like you said, with my daughter, that's 16. So she has a couple more years before she heads off. So I was thinking about this as far as resources. And I think one of the main ones is going to be to seek support from your friends and your family. You know, spend more time with them, you know, rekindle some of those friendships that maybe you haven't kept up with because, you know, life with kids can be, you know, very busy. And so, and reach out, you know, in the community to see if there's other groups of, you know, whether you're a single parent or, you know, married or whatever it may be, you know, you can do that together or individually. Also, I think if you get to the point where you feel that you are struggling with like anxiety and depression and those sorts of things, where it is turning more into like a syndrome situation, you know, definitely seek help from a counselor or you know, whoever it is you go for things like that. My counselor would be who you'd go to talk to, but your doctor, whoever it might be. Books are really good resources. If you're a reader, I think it's good to just find books on whatever topic it is that you're needing help with, like self-help. And then redefining your role, because, you know, I think our goal is to raise independent children, but yet then it's such a huge transition when they leave. So all of a sudden it's like, what is my role now? You know, if you have younger kids in the house, and yeah, you're still going to kind of be going with that for a couple more years or whatever it is. But I think just redefining like what your role is as the parent of that child, you know, because now you're going to be more of like a mentor. Yes, you're still the parent. They're still going to need you in certain ways. They're just not going to need you the way that they did. So just think about your new role instead of missing the role that you played before, or not played, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, and then reconnect with your partner, you know, if you're married. And I know I heard a story about a lady the other day that, you know, their child left. She literally got pregnant right after they were married. So they didn't really have any time as a married couple without kids. And so I think that's pretty common for most couples. So kind of like reconnecting with your partner, like on a different level, like figuring out what that looks like. And just thinking about how much time you're going to have together to do things and travel more. And, you know, if you have kids that are athletes, not having to go to games and practices. And even though you're going to miss those things, like try to fill those spots with fun things moving forward. And then reconnect with yourself, which Robert talked a little bit about, you know, just trying to figure out who you are again. Think about like what hobbies that you didn't take time to, you know, do before because you were too busy with kids. You know, just finding things that you enjoy and taking the time to pursue those things. I think that is going to be really helpful.
I love that, Alana. And y'all, just so you know, Alana's getting her psychology degree. So if you do need that counselor at some point, I think she would be able to help you out. Anyway, let me transition into joy is a choice. And I think what both of us have talked about today is being intentional and choosing how you're going to approach this situation. And joy is a choice. Yes, sometimes it takes patience to get there, but keep in mind that it is a choice, and you can choose every day to be joyful or to be sad, to be a victim, oh, my kids are gone, to be like excited about their future. You can make that choice. And that is it sounds like a simple thing, but really that is what you have control over. You can make the choice to live a joyful life. And it's so amazing, you know, get into gratitude, you know, be in gratitude as much as you can, live in the moment. All the things that we've covered so far in this video. But the last thing we really wanted to emphasize is joy is a choice. So choose to be joyful, choose to not fall victim to some of these things. And I think that if you follow the steps and the tips that we gave you earlier in this video, you're going to find yourself not having to face the sad end of the whole empty nesting process. You'll come out on the front side of it, emerge in a much better place. And you know what? Your kids will appreciate that too. If they see a well-adjusted parent that isn't clinging to them when they're, you know, going off into the world, they're going to feel more confident going into the world. And you're teaching them some valuable lessons too.
Awesome. All right. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and then comment down below with questions or answers to your questions.
And we will see you next time on this journey from isolation to community, and beyond community is freedom.